Dehumanisation by design, a new US and Israeli-backed plan called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, claiming to be an alternative to humanitarian organisations in Gaza, fails and descends into complete chaos on its first attempt. But this is not how humanitarian and life-saving aid is delivered. Experts in the field warned from the start that the plan was shady and would certainly fail, and pre-existing methods of getting aid to starved Palestinians in Gaza worked. They just had to be given the room to operate.
We've got to keep on getting as much aid through our mechanism as we can. We can do this at scale. We did it during the ceasefire. 42 days, 600 trucks, 700 trucks, dwarfing anything they're talking about doing through this dodgy modality. We know how to do this. We can do it in line with humanitarian principles. And the world, the international community, the donors who provided that aid are very, very clear with us that this is the only way to do it. To go with the other modality would actually be to support the objectives of the military offensive and to further dehumanize and humiliate those civilians who badly need that aid.
The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is a new alleged aid organisation that quickly rose up as a self-proclaimed alternative to UN aid agencies operating in Gaza. The US and Israeli-backed plan raised doubts and criticism from its inception. Experts in the field wanted to discard the idea just as quickly as it rose up. The plan comes about as Israel imposes a suffocating blockade on the Gaza Strip, starving its 2 million population and depleting all supplies and resources. The GHF project has been in the works for over a year, with plans that would involve heavily securitized, limited aid distribution hubs with ID checks for Palestinians receiving food, aid and supplies. Tuesday was the first glimpse of what that would look like. Many have compared the scenes to concentration camps and a dystopian Hunger Games-like spectacle of crowds of starved Palestinians in Gaza having to walk miles to wait in cages in the scorching heat to receive aid from a US and Israeli-backed project, all managed by armed foreign mercenary groups brought in by the US, and in that first attempt, the mercenaries fled the scene just as soon as the chaos broke out, after hours of security checks, delays, and the fence infrastructure collapsing. And if all of that wasn't dystopian enough, the long-term plan set out that the project would be promoted online by Arab influencers, hired to help boost the acceptance and PR of the idea. Despite the head of the controversial plan, Jake Wood, resigning just hours before it was set to launch, the attempt to deliver the first wave of aid went ahead, and the reasons for the criticism and Jake Wood's resignation became crystal clear. In his statement, Jake Wood said that he does not believe that it's possible for the organization to operate independently or adhere to strict humanitarian principles, despite supporting the idea just days before. The scenes of caged Palestinians queuing up to receive basic rations of food supplies and the stampede-like chaos that followed goes against well-established methods of delivering aid by humanitarian organizations. The origins of the organization were revealed to be very sketchy, and criticism by Israeli opposition figures suggests that GHF had been funded by Israel through US shell companies. One main factor claimed by the GHF is that it's an alternative that Israel and the US approve of and are willing to work with.
And we worked out a plan with our American friends to have controlled distribution sites, where an American company would distribute the food to Palestinian families.
Existing humanitarian aid organizations rejected the claim that there was a need for an alternative organization to step in to help Palestinians being starved by Israel. The heads of the main UN aid organizations and World Food Programme say that the issue is not with the capabilities, competency, or legitimacy of their organizations, as they have years of experience doing this, nor is the problem with the alleged looting of aid that gets into Gaza. The problem is with Israel blocking the thousands of aid, food, and supply trucks that are ready to go into Gaza.
The clock is ticking towards famine, so humanitarian must be allowed to do its life-saving work now.
Millions of dollars worth of life-saving supplies all being blocked from entering Gaza because of Israel's political motives and the pressure it claims to be putting on Hamas. Since the 2nd of March this year, Israel has enforced a campaign of starvation and collective punishment on Gaza's 2 million population, after Israel claimed Hamas stole and looted aid and food deliveries getting into Gaza, but no concrete evidence has been provided to substantiate such claims, and the head of the UN's World Food Programme reaffirmed that there's no evidence of aid being stolen by armed groups. Rather, Palestinians in Gaza have been pushed to desperation because of Israel's forced starvation. In addition, Israeli officials have repeatedly said that they plan to take over the entire Gaza Strip and reclaim control over the flow of aid and only allow humanitarian organizations to operate in Gaza within an Israeli framework. UN officials have warned that delivering humanitarian aid in accordance with Israel's plans risks enforcing displacement of Gaza's population and not meeting even the basic needs of Palestinians in Gaza. The GHF's initial planning documents revealed that they anticipated public skepticism and preemptively prepared talking points in case the GHF encountered allegations likening its food distribution hubs to concentration camps that use biometrics. The GHF will never participate in or support any form of forced relocation of civilians, their spokespeople said.
I believe it is a waste of resources and a distraction from atrocities.
But UN officials have since doubled down on their commitment to provide necessary aid to Palestinians in Gaza through proven and legitimate methods.